Now, are there some causes? I know that, okay, we're looking at the human being, and the human being is a very complex machine, you know?
Yeah.
All right. Are there some causes that we can say, okay, these are responsible for mental health that have become very alarming today in the society? I mean, the African diaspora community, as it were.
One word for that, social media. It's one of the most, I mean, I think, it's a gift and a curse, because the fact that, like what we're doing today, we can talk to people in the other end of the world just like that. That's a gift. We've never had anything like that. But social media has now become, something else. And it's creating monsters, and people need to be mindful of how they're interacting on social media. I mean, right here in the UK, it has now, they're now saying for young people, the impact on young people who are taking their lives from being on social media, which to me is just mind boggling, but that tells you how the level of the impact, it's having on people. So social media is not going away. The internet is here to stay, but people have to respect the dangers that come with it, and they need to check themselves. They need to check their children. And the really scary part of it is that the children are seeing what their parents are doing on social media. So sometimes when I see, especially Africans, I watch some of the interaction and postings of Nigerians in the diaspora, and I think, are you for real? You're talking about yourself and your family and other people. They're using social media, and that has now become uh, a mirror of who we are, and where we are within our own mental health. Because people, I look at some of the things that I say, and I said, this person must have a mental health problem. You can't expose your life and yourself in this manner and not know that there's a problem with that, or the kind of things that you're talking about, um, to the world. It should be something that you should keep within your own household, so that people have lost their inhibition. Anything goes. And so in that respect, that is a big issue, as one of the causes for real serious mental health problems. People trying to live lives that they can't live, and pretend that they're living lives that they don't live. All of that, So that's a whole, and the generations of people, and that are coming through from social media. That's going to be a whole different problem. But I think, the other thing is, you know relationships, how people interact with one another, either romantically or just as a family. The relationships people are having with one another. People have to be able to notice, like I said before, when somebody is acting out of character, and not see it as something to post on social media. This is funny. Everything is click. Everything. People have lost all sense of humanity. That this is not something that to laugh about. This is not something to. It's not entertainment. This person is struggling with something, and you are encouraging them to continue in that vein. So we've lost something, and I like to use the word humanity, a sense of humanity, for one another, that we really need. And as Africans, that's one of the God-given things that we have, that humanity that we really must protect. That is something that is we've been blessed with as a people, and we seem to, be losing that, and there are consequences for it, and our mental health is affected. So, as far as causes, there there's so many potential causes, for mental health problems. And I think, just raising awareness, the more we talk about it, the more it comes into our consciousness, and we become more, you know, conscious about it, and thereby being able to maybe, explore it a bit more.
All right, explore it a bit more. In fact, that is what we are also doing here today. We are trying to explore this problem that we have in the community, which affect everyone. If you are a human being, you must understand that you are liable to suffer some of these consequences. Imagine, for example, the period that is ending now. Let's hope that is ending, which is about the COVID-19 pandemic, where a lot of people were locked down. I remember that I started an interview series where I talked to a whole session of African diaspora, try to understand what are you feeling, how is it going on with you, because it had never happened before that everything is locked down, you are at home. It's not a question of at home that's actually the problem. For the fact that you are living in a small space, and this space is where you are going to do everything. If you were one person, it is one thing, but now you are living there with your family. That is, it reveals us the real human being at the end of the day. This period that we passed through, I think a lot of psychology are going to have to examine it for for very many years. No, in that we say we are tired of working, but now the system have constrained you to stay at home in one place, no working. But many people also are complaining, and that is where the problem is. How do we manage this space, this time that we are living together? Do we have anything that we can learn from it? Are we really learning anything from this experience that we have just passed through? Or is it really the cause of this spiral of in the case of mental health? Of course, we are talking of the African diaspora now in a general sense. But I have a lot of friends here in Italy. I have done a lot of interview here in Italy among Italians. This is something that is growing very high also outside the African diaspora. And I'm sure if you go to a UK and look at a particular demography, say maybe only the English people, I am sure that it is also growing high. So what I'm saying is it possible that this period that we spend at home because of the pandemic has increased the mental health issue? Help me with that.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I mentioned that earlier that domestic violence has shot up. I mean, they during this period they've had more calls on domestic violence problems than ever before. But that for some people, it has been a blessing. For some, especially, a lot of the men have said that they've had a chance to get to know their children. They've had a chance to get to know their spouse, and that's been great, and it's made them feel, oh, whenever the pandemic is done, they want to structure their lives differently. They're being able to, being forced to be at home and see what they've been missing in terms of the interaction with the family. For some people has been, incredible, has been, and they've decided, that they want to change how they live. But unfortunately, the most percentage of people have developed very serious mental health problems. And, because for some people, going out has been an escape route, going out every day to work, and then finding that you can't do that anymore. They've really struggled with it, So it's a mixture. It's a mixture. It's some people, some couples have found it difficult to work together at home. Being in the same fight, the space to do work, both of them doing work in the house, being on top of each other has been difficult. But then when I think about it again, this is the Western living, because back in our hometown, in our home countries, people lived together. Big communities lived harmoniously together. So this is part of the maybe the negative side of Western living. That people are not used to being in the same space with one another. But we have to learn how to do that. And but the sad part about it is it has created huge mental health problems, and the most significant has been the domestic violence, and also with even with children being abused on many levels, from having both parents at home and stressed. The parents are stressed and they take it out on the children. So it's a real problem. It's a real problem.
If you enjoy this podcast, make sure you subscribe so you never miss any of our future episodes. Rate and review Obehi Podcast and share with your friends who might need it. I remain Obehi Ewafo. Thank you so much for listening, and talk to you in the next episode.